Okay, says we're live. We'll wait for some people to come on. Get my thing set up here. This should come up. My videos. There we are, live. And that, I want the oh, Ian Jackson's here. Hi Ian, how are you? Was just talking to you earlier today. Yes, we are live. We're just waiting for a few more people to come. How do you like Walter's hat?
Yeah, thrilled.
Today was Walter's final day at work. He is now officially retired with it all. So I went out to the store and I got a banner and I got a little hat for him. And hello, Craft and Bev from Boise. I see you made it. That's great. And I got these cute little glasses.
I'll let you do the...
Do the what?
Translation.
Translation, okay. And so anyways, we're celebrating Walter's retirement. Cheers.
Cheers.
And he's
It's
lovely.
only been 39 years before I could retire.
Your button's not turned on.
Okay, where's it turned?
It's on the back.
Okay.
And Jerry Lee says happy retirement.
Thank you.
And we're just waiting for a few more people to get connected here for tonight. And, oh, I got to get out the poo-poo platter. We have a poo-poo platter. Everybody's probably wondering what the heck a poo-poo platter is. It's where I put shit together. We have to have hors d'oeuvres. Sorry, people, you can't eat this virtually. It's amazing what you can do with things you scrape out of the bottom of your fridge. Oh, and just in case anybody is wondering, hi, Karen. What did you retire from, Walter? Karen wants to know.
I worked in an information technology department, and I was a programmer or developer. It was name changed over the years type thing, so I developed and fixed software, so that's basically it.
Sounds like an exciting career, doesn't it? Boring. And let's see. Angelica says, and welcome Angelica. Well, happy retirement from me as well. And Susie Hughes here. Hi Sue, you made it tonight. Sue and I know each other because Sue lives in Oshawa. And she didn't make it last week, but she's there now. Here now, that's great. Karen says congratulations.
Thank you.
Everybody's coming in. So how many people out there are actually retired or about to retire? Anybody? Just take a little survey here. And I may have to switch over to my thing. I forgot to set it so it won't shut itself down. So just give me a minute here, people. Just get that off. Never auto lock. Okay, let's go back. Okay, I'm back on. And Jerry Lee's nope. And oh, Sue, you're retiring in October, are you?
Wow.
So how many years has that been that you've been working? And Marie, hi Marie. Good evening from the UK. And Ian says the world goes around with IT. Yes, and I think Ian, you're in IT as well, aren't you? So you would know that. Mm-hmm. Karen says, I'm not retired. I got a wild hair and became a nurse at 48 years old. So I won't be breathing anytime soon. Yeah, that's right. Well, if you like what you do, well, I liked what I did.
I liked what I did too, but after a while, it just...
Yep.
My retirement, my pension became available, actually not till, technically I'm on holidays until November 30th, but, and then I'll be really officially retired. But I liked what I did. It's just that I was doing it for 39 years, and I thought it was time to go.
Yep. Sue says that she's retiring after 30 years as a legal assistant. So Angelica says, Craft and Bev, are you from Boise? Oh, we're having a conversation there. Okay. Ian says, retirement, very long time away. Well, you want to know something, Ian? One day you wake up, and it's just on the horizon. Next day you wake up, it's almost in your backyard. Another day you blink, and you've been retired for 5 years. That's the way it feels like for me. And it has been 5 years. Karen says she loves what she does, and retirement will come soon enough. And that's important. You know, you don't want to wish your life away. I know people who hated their job for 30 years and had countdown since they were like first in the job to when they were going to retire. And to me, that's not worth the work. Change your job then if you hate it so much, because that's counting down to the end of your life kind of a thing. Nice hat, Walter, Sue says. Yeah, I'm making him wear it. I'm making him wear it.
Yeah. I'm not wearing this by choice, okay?
Well, when you get, after a little while, you can take it off. Not yet.
I haven't had enough to drink to actually wear this.
Oh, and did you see his little button here? It says off the clock. It said clock. Okay, just in case that didn't come out, it's clock. All right. Jerry Lee says, I bet you'll do something else you love. You're not going to really retire. So, what are you going to do?
Well,
I'd like to know.
Well,
well, what?
I've got...
Lay around, sleep, what?
We've got travel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and there's travel planning, which I do.
Yes.
And I do that anyway, and I've got a whole bunch of things I need to do around the house here that I keep putting off because I'm working. And I don't know if I'll ever be finished doing that.
Probably not.
And I still have some stained glass hobby that I've been ignoring for a little while, and I want to do some. I have a few plans. I'd like to do a few things with that. And I joined the gym again this year, and I've been going a couple of times a week, and I'd like to make it 3 or maybe 4 times a week. So
ooh, get svelte. Ooh, and
I don't know. I had another couple of things on the list. I can't remember.
Oh, well, senior moment now. Like this morning, we were trying to remember what movie we saw this week.
Yeah, I know.
Neither one of us could remember. It was real memorable. Well, anyways, so keeping up this first part of tonight, I've structured things a little bit more than we did last week. So the first section has just been what's been happening this week, and you know Walter's retired. But what did happen? Like, what were the events? Because you had several things you went to.
Well, because of timing, a lot of people work from home nowadays, so we had to sort of pick a day when it would be when most people would be in at work type thing. So it turns out one of the other ladies that I've worked with for many years and started pretty much the same time I did, and she worked on the same team that I was on, is also retiring today. It's her last day today. And so because we were working for the same boss and everything, we combined our retirements. And we went out for lunch on Tuesday to an Italian restaurant. And then afterwards we came back to the office and we had a general IT retirement function in the office. And that was pretty much it for retirement functions, and everybody got to come to it and say goodbye. And a few retirees showed up, and which was kind of nice. And it was kind of fun, and it was kind of interesting because it's really the first retirement I've been to where it's 2 people being retired at the same time. So and people that work closely with each other. So that was kind of interesting.
And you got some gifts.
Yeah, I've got a couple of nice bottles of wine. Somebody else gave me a big bottle of beer, and I got a gift certificate to the LCBO. You would think that
You're lush.
I'm a lush.
Yeah. Kind of true.
That's about it so far.
Well, Lindsay says happy retirement. So that's great too. How many we've got on here? Oh, 7. Well, we're just moving right along here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what have I been up to this week? Well, I'm going to talk more about this in my vlog on Monday, so I'm not going to say too much right now, but I joined the Oshawa Art Association, not the Oshawa Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what Walter likes to call it. And I'm going to be teaching some classes for them, but I'm going to say more about that on Monday on my vlog, so I won't worry about that right now. Now, do you want to hear, I don't know, Walter may be a little embarrassed to bring this up, but I think from a teacher's point of view, this is an educational moment. We want to talk about our bug scare. Yeah. Okay, now let's back up here. About a week ago, actually a week ago, what, this last Friday?
Last Friday,
Last Thursday. A few days even before that, I had some little bites down around my ankles, you know, my feet kind of a thing. But that's not unusual for me in the summer because we have a patio underneath our deck and we live next to a forest. So we have all kinds of bugs and spiders and things like that all the time. And in the summer, my basic outfit is usually shorts and sandals. So I go around barefoot a lot. Walter's usually wearing long pants on that because he gets cold easily. And, well, I had these little bites on me, but I didn't really think much of them. And then Thursday night, it was late Thursday night, might have been almost Friday morning because he's a night hawk, I'm not. I wake up and I find him kneeling at the foot of the bed with his camera, with his cell phone, and he's taking a picture. And I go, what are you taking a picture of? He goes, never mind. When he says that, you know, don't pursue it any further. He doesn't want to talk about it. And I just thought it was kind of weird, and I just rolled over and went back to sleep. So the next day, we're talking, and he'd already mentioned that he had some, what looked like bites up on his side, on thigh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And on your arm.
And all the way down my legs and stuff like that. And my arm.
And we both looked at each other and went, oh my God, have we got bed bugs? Now, bed bugs is a scary kind of thing, okay? First of all, there's a myth. This is where the education part comes in. There is a myth that the only people that have a problem with bed bugs are people who live in filth, who are not very clean, who do not keep their house very clean. We're not those people. We're very, very picky about cleanliness, and especially about our house as well. Mm-hmm. So that's a myth. But there have been reports that bed bugs in North America are on the rise. And there's been lots of things on TV, on news programs and stuff, talking about being careful when you go into any hotel, whether it's a 5-star or a 2-star, it doesn't matter. Bed bugs aren't picky. And they talk about don't put your suitcase on the floor when you walk in. Don't put it on the bed. Put it someplace up high and things like that. And they say that because you can take them then home with you. And they're very difficult to get rid of. So we're thinking, where have we been? And of course, he was taking pictures because he thought maybe he could spot them on the side of the bed and we could show them to the pest control people or whatever. We had been a few weeks before in Kingston, and we had stayed in a student residence at the college that's there. And didn't really think much about it. Thought, oh God, maybe we picked them up there and brought them home with us. But we couldn't find any traces. We looked high and low for telltale marks. Walter read everything that's ever been written about bed bugs on the internet, as he always does, very thorough. And what they were saying, like the first thing he did was we stripped the bed, put everything in plastic bags before we took them out of the room, took them downstairs to the laundry room, washed everything in the highest temperature that we possibly could, cooked everything in the dryer, left our bedspread, the duvet, things like that, all sealed up in plastic afterwards as well. We didn't put them back on the bed. We called the pest control. Well, we called them on the Friday. They couldn't come to us. As soon as they could get to us, it was Wednesday of this week. In the meantime, it tells you don't move to another location in your house, like to sleep. Don't sleep on a couch. Don't sleep in a spare bedroom, because they will follow you and they will infest that room. Well, I'm thinking this is great. We're going to bed at night and becoming a living smorgasbord for these things. But we never found any. He went over to the pest control place, got this plug-in thing that looks like a power bar. It actually can be used as a power bar, but apparently it's got a pad in it that it heats up a little bit, and it sends out this pheromone scent that attracts them, and they get stuck in this plastic. The only thing we caught was we caught a little tiny thing, but we didn't know whether that was a bed bug or not. So finally, they came, they inspected. They were really good at the inspection. Oh yeah, and Walter went out and he bought encasements for the pillows to start with, that you're basically putting your pillow in a baggie that is hermetically sealed kind of a thing, and I don't know if that's to keep them in or keep them out, whatever.
That's to keep, if they're in, it keeps them in. If they're, but the pillows, so we ran through the dryer, so they should be okay. So
anyways, the inspector came out. He was very, very thorough, and he knew what he was talking about. And we pulled the mattress, the box spring off the bed. He checked into the woodwork everywhere. He says, I had not find a trace. And I said, what about this thing caught in the trap? And he says, that's not a bed bug. He says, that's a little tiny common beetle. Of course,
and actually, what actually did happen before the pest control guy showed up, after I'd stripped all the bedding off and run it through the washer and dryer and everything, it's like our bites stopped at that point in time.
Yeah, we didn't have any more.
We stopped getting bit, but we still decided to have the pest guy come anyway, just to have a look, because you never know. I didn't know whether I had gotten the stuff or whether they were hiding around somewhere else in the bed or whatever. So, but he did suggest that we get covers for the mattress and the box spring.
These encasements, they call them.
Just in case, and if you did end up having a problem, then you'd know right away, because the encasements don't allow them anywhere to hide, so that's what we did.
After he left, but he also said, where else do you sit? Or that. So we took him to all the spots where we spend most of our time, and he checked those out thoroughly, and he says, I cannot find a trace of a bed bug. And he also said, and Ian, I noticed, said here, they are micro-sized, you will not see them. That guy told us, though, you'll see their droppings. And he said, there'll be little black specks. And he said, you can know that they're droppings as opposed to a little piece of fuzz. If you put your finger on it and rub it across it and it smears, then that's an indication.
Well, actually, the bed bugs are not microscopic. When I went to the pest control place, they showed me them, dead ones in a sample thing, and even the offspring you can actually see. They're very small. An adult bed bug is actually the size of an apple seed, so they are not invisible.
And if you have like white mattress, which we do, and white box springs and that, they're much more easier to see, I guess. But anyways, this guy said, you do not have bed bugs. And we're trying to figure out, well, where are these bites coming from? And he says, he says he wasn't sure. He did see some of them on Walter's arm. He says, well, they do look like bed bug bites because I guess they're in clusters.
Yeah, supposedly they go in clusters, but it could have been that it was such a new, I don't know, such a new thing. I hope that we got all, if we did have them, I hope we got all of them.
Well, we've got the trap underneath the bed, which is where you're supposed to put it. We've got the encasements now on the box springs and on the mattress and on the pillows. Everything has been thoroughly washed, heated, the whole bit. And I still think what we actually had were, because I've killed a few of them in the house, it's been bad this summer, tiny little spiders. And the marks that I had look more like spider bites. I've had spider bites before. So I don't know. But we're monitoring the situation, but he's pretty much assured us that we do not have bed bugs. And it only has cost us to discover all of this about $400, because $150 for the inspection, the encasements for the mattress and the box springs were about almost $200. The pillow ones were another $50-some with that. So yeah, it was an adventure. And but I'm telling you, you get really paranoid in the night thinking.
Well, actually, now that I've read all this literature on it, I am really going to be careful when we bring stuff back from a trip, because you don't want those things.
Yeah. Well, Ian says they must be USA bugs. And Lindsay's laughing at that. And, oh, hello, is it Malia from Finland? She says, happy retirement, Walter. I'm just catching up on the comments that are here. But anyways, people, I wanted to bring it up because it is a common problem, at least in North America now, and I'm sure all around the world. And people are embarrassed to talk about this because the old wives' tale was you were filthy pigs if you had bed bugs. That anybody can get bed bugs, and they're not that hard to get, but they aren't that easy to get rid of. So we're monitoring the situation. We're doing everything that the pest control guys told us. He even left us these sticky pads to put around in certain areas of the house. He said they'll catch anything. They go to those, they're attracted to it, and they get stuck in it. So he said you may find spiders or whatever in there as well. But he says just as added assurance. But he says, I'm pretty sure you do not have bed bugs. And
well,
he's done a lot
plus
of it.
on his report he put very clean house at the bottom.
Yeah, he put that. I thought that was kind of thing. Yes, our house is very clean. But, like I said, that's an old wives' tale. They're not attracted to dirt. They're attracted to humans, to blood. They're a parasite. So, isn't that cherry? Doesn't everybody love that? So, okay, let's see. Jerlee says, same myth as roaches and water bugs. If you travel, you can get stuff. Exactly, exactly. And the one thing now we'll be very cautious about with our suitcases when we bring them home, we won't bring them in the house. We'll leave them in the garage. We'll take a plastic bag, take everything out of them, put it in the plastic bag, and that stuff's all going right down to the laundry room and right into the laundry first thing. And if it's winter here, I guess it kills them if you leave it out in under minus 10 degrees for several days.
Yeah.
Not really a problem in winter in Canada for that. So, anyways, let's get off the bugs and get on to something else. So another segment I thought we might talk about is what are we watching this week? So, on YouTube. Now, you know in my vlog I always highlight a YouTube video, but they're ones about art or crafting, that kind of thing. In this segment, we're going to talk about the ones we watch for that are not crafting and video. And we found this one. It's as hilarious as anything. It's called Granny Potty Mouth. Look her up. Now, first of all, if you're easily offended by language, like don't watch her. Word. Yeah, she uses the F word a lot. But it is hilarious. I don't know if this woman is actually a stand-up comedian and she's trying to get herself known out there through YouTube or what, but it is hilarious. So you have to check that out. So it's called Granny Potty Mouth. Just looking here. Oh, Ian says that it could be irritation, like your bites from too much cleaning detergent. Yeah, I thought that too, but it's really not an irritation. They actually are.
They actually were bug bites.
They look like bites.
They were like almost like mosquito bites, only.
The other theory,
only in clusters.
The other theory that we had was underneath our deck, that's like where we have our hot tub and our patio and everything like that, and we like to sit there in the summertime. We had a family of squirrels move in the roofing part above where we sit. And they had babies, and Walter wanted to do horrible things to them, and I wouldn't let him do that. I said, no, they have babies. But what squirrels do is they will have more than one nest at a time, because if something discovers where their nest is, they will pick up the family and move to the other nest somewhere else. But they'll also do this if they have a bad flea infestation. And squirrels, of course, like any wild animal, fleas are rampant. So I'm wondering if they did leave the nest. They were gone. One day just all gone. And wondered if maybe they had a flea infestation. The fleas, of course, came down where we were and bit us. And you can bring fleas into the house as well, but usually a thorough vacuuming or something like that, they'll eventually die off. And we have had fleas in the house before, but we used to have a cat, although she was an indoor cat, but we were more concerned about her than about us, so we did things to make sure she wasn't getting bit or that kind of thing. We didn't have a lot of them, but, you know, it happens. So, but I mentioned this to the exterminator guy, and he said, those, if you got a flea bite, he says, they usually just sort of welt up. They don't look like a bite. He says you might not even notice them. I don't know. I beg to differ on that.
Well, it could be also, I tend to be allergic to mosquito bites, so it could be even if it was a flea, it could very well be that I just welted up because I have I'm having an allergic reaction to mosquito bites.
He has an allergic reaction to everything.
Like, I mean, if I get a mosquito bite, most people just have a little bite, but mine ends up being like a giant bruise because I welt up really bad.
Yeah. He's also a bit of a hypochondriac, so, bugs. What do you mean? It's true.
It is not.
It is so. You run right to the medicine cabinet. How many pills are in there that you have? But anyways, that's for another time, another story. Ian also says it could be ants. I thought about that as well. Ants, because, again, although I haven't seen any ants in around the house this year. We have had a problem certain years with them. But, who knows? But anyways, Jerry gets welts too. Quarter-size ones. Okay, those are big. If you're getting welts that thing, well, we should do an episode on the Doctor's Inn and talk about everything. So anyways, Granny Potty Mouth is great on YouTube.
Yeah.
On TV, we just finished a really weird show called Blood Drive. If you're not in North America, I think this was it wasn't a Netflix original, was it?
No, it was by another...
Was it HBO?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what it was.
Anyways, it was one of those other, independent kind of, not one of the networks kind of a thing.
No, well, network would never be able to have that.
Oh, no. And if you are squeamish about violence and blood and people being dumped into cars that have big chopping things in them that eat them so they can get the blood to run the car, do I need to say more? But actually, although it's very weird, very violent, very bloody, very gross,
actually,
very interesting.
The way it's filmed, it's like the old B movies, the old B sci-fi movies. The episodes were
it's kind of the style.
Really far-fetched type of style, so it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's Edie. It says, congratulations, Walter. Lots of adventure ahead. Enjoy.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep, before you need that wheelchair. And then that'll be a new adventure as I push you over a cliff. But enough about my plans. Okay, and then we went to... Oh, no, and the other show we've just... are still watching. It's called Halt and Catch Fire. It's about the computer industry in the early days, but it's a drama kind of thing. I think they've moved up into the late 1990s now. It's interesting to us because...
Well, it's interesting to me because I've been in the computer industry all these years, and it's been kind of interesting to watch their progression supposedly through the computer age, but you can sort of pick out problems.
Yeah, well, you can nip it. But actually, it's a pretty good show. I think this might be its last season, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And this is season 3 or 4?
I think it's 4.
4. So, and is it a Netflix or is it an HBO? It's not a mainstream...
It might be an AMC, but I'm not sure.
Well, maybe. It's not a mainstream network like ABC, CBS, CBC, that kind of thing.
I don't think we watch too many mainstream.
No, we don't anymore. We have basic cable now because we stream everything. And, of course, just last night, the first episode came on. Will and Grace are back. Now, I don't know... Anybody in North America would know who Will and Grace are. It was a show back in the late... I think it started in the late 90s, moved into the early 2000s, but it hasn't been on the air for 11 years. But it's basically about a gay guy and his straight best friend who's a girl. And then there's these two peripheral characters, Karen and Jack, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. But I watched it last night because I thought, look, it's been 11 years. They have the same cast. 11 years, times were different. Would it still have the effect? Actually, it was really good last night. And it was very topical. They were, one of them, his best friend in this, the other main lead, she's an interior decorator, and she's doing Trump's Oval Office kind of a thing. And there's all kinds of stuff in it. But if you've never seen Will and Grace, you should watch it. But I recommend finding the old shows of it first, and then you'll understand. Okay, and Maria says, hi, Shelley. Oh, okay. Hi, Shelley. And Ian says, oh, no, Marie says she watched the first 48. I'm not sure what the first 48 is.
Episodes?
Or the first 4? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what that means, Maria.
There may be a TV show, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Ian says, I love the Commodore versus Spectrum computer time stream. And Maria watches True Crime. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched...
Actually, I don't watch a lot of the crime ones.
No.
We're more into unusual stuff.
Yeah, like Blood Drive. We want to see blood, guts, and gore. What's that say about us? Okay, so then we went to the show. I'm sorry, I'm tired with my mouth full. Okay, you could have picked up the silence that. We went to the show on last Sunday and saw Kingsman 2, which is, you know, UK spy kind of. It's kind of a James Bondy kind of thing. It's a good waste of time. Actually, it's a pretty good movie. The first one was really good too, so that's why I went to the second one. So if you're looking for a movie where you don't have to think and there's lots of action and, you know, and it's on that James Bond kind of level, check it out, Kingsman 2. And was here, Lindsay Hall says was here in UK, so I don't know if she means True Crime or the other. Maria still has a Commodore Amiga 500 and 1200. Okay, those are boat anchors. Oh, and Ian says, are we going to watch the new Star Trek TV show? Yep, already started watching it.
So far, it's pretty good.
Yeah, saw the first 2 episodes of it. Actually, a friend of mine was over last night who's a real Trekkie. And I was saying the one thing I didn't like was why are they going backwards in time to the beginning as opposed to moving on into the future? And he told me there's universes in all of them, in the movies and that these are all like parallel universes in their timelines, which seems to be very popular in amongst all the like the superhero TV shows and things like that. I didn't realize that they're talking about parallel universes. And funny, just as an aside, I listened to a podcast called Mysterious Radio, and they talk about everything like conspiracy theories and aliens and all that kind of stuff. And the repeated theme that comes up out of that podcast is this whole thing that we have multiple dimensions. And like right now, there is another me sitting somewhere in another timeline doing something else and whatnot like that. And there's an awful lot of people out there that actually really, really believe this. And they believe we're also transitioning out into the 4th dimension, which has something to do with time. Don't really understand it. It's interesting stuff to listen to. And today I heard something really scary on one of the podcasts. It's called The Black Planet. Or Planet X. Was it Black Planet?
Planet X, probably.
But it's supposedly, it's our star. Our sun is a binary star, but its twin is on a bigger elliptical loop around the galaxy or something, and it's about to come back, and it's why we're having these severe weather changes right now. And every time something like this happens, it shifts our poles and our magnetic fields, and there's these underground bunkers that only the elite in the world know about, and they're all going to, when the scientists know when this is going to hit, and they're all going underground, and we're all going to be wiped out. And okay, cheery, really. All right. Shelley says, why is Walter all sparkly? Because he just retired today, and I got him a lovely crown, and he's got a lovely little button that says he's off
the clock.
Off the clock. Again, off the clock. Okay, so that's what we're seeing this week. All right, now, here's what you have to tell me if you want this or not, because it means that I have to physically get up and move the iPad that's taping all of this right now. And that is, someone mentioned last week they'd be interested in seeing Walter's stained glass in our house. I can take you on a little tour if you wish. So you have to let me know in the next few minutes whether that's something you guys want to do. So basically, you'll be walking with me as I go around, and Walter can talk about his stained glass and things like that. So we'll wait and see. Lindsay says yes. Shelley says, yay, congrats to you. Crafton Bev says, I would love to see Walter's work in stained glass. Maria says, tour please, that'd be nice. Ian says, in fiction, why should a timeline be fixed? It can be changed to whatever way it wants. Ian, we've moved on. Okay. Susie Q says yes. Melly Art says yes. Okay. So we're going to do this. It's going to be a buckle your seatbelts because this is going to be a bumpy ride.
What you're going to do is a mic.
I won't take the mic. I'll go to this
Okay.
mic. Well, okay, so I'm unplugging the microphone and I'm pulling this off the stand. Now, let me know. Can you see me right now? And Ian says he's a slow typer. And can you hear me right now? I need to know before I'll switch this around so you're not looking at my mug. Susie says yes, yes, yes. I can see you. Okay, so I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch.
Yeah, are you sure you got it? Cover needs to come off that.
Yeah, but I can't find the button. Where's the button to switch it?
There's a little camera that has the rotating thing on it.
Where? Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm going to take the cover off. All right, people, rotate. Okay. So, you want to turn on the overhead light there? Can you see Walter's Tiffany? And can you hear me? Let me know. Okay, people can hear me, yes? Okay, Shelley says gorgeous. Wow, stunning. Yes, so Walter, do you want to explain your work of art here?
Well, actually,
I gotta take my finger off the camera.
It was a pattern that I purchased. Of course, I chose all the glass myself. And there's 425 pieces, and it took me almost a year to do it. So.
Yeah, that's probably his best piece. And Craft and Bev says that's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this is in our kitchen. So you've seen part of our kitchen, but this is, we have sort of an open concept kitchen. So this is our kitchen table, and this is the kitchen itself. And there's where we were sitting. And there's Walter. And then, of course, we have this sitting area here as well. We just redid this room about a year ago. And we have a TV in here too, so there's YouTube on there. I don't have that. That's our wine fridge. So moving on, let's, I'm not going to take you into the, how come that light's not on? There it is. Okay, so this, sorry if I'm making you sick. This is our bedrooms. This is a 3-bedroom house. The guest bedroom. Guest bathroom.
It's a bungalow, so everything's on one floor.
Yeah, but it's a raised bungalow, as you're going to see. So we do have stairs, and then the master bedroom, and it has an ensuite, but we're not going into the bedroom.
Because we don't have the bed cover
because we don't have the duvet and everything on there right now. So this is our dining room, and I can show you some of... Oops, that's not the right switch. I'm just turning on the lights here, sorry. Okay, what you have here is, now everybody thinks this is a Christmas village. Yes, Ian, I'm keeping we have a fairly strong connection in this house, but I'll watch for that. Ian says watch to make sure we don't lose the connection. This is not a Christmas village, although it's got Christmas trees and things in it. This is up all year round. It started many years ago. Thanks, Bev. Oh, hi, Cindy. My mother gave me the first piece, and it's called Department 56. And I collected a few more, and then I got out of the habit of collecting them. But you see all these other little pieces that are in here. I'll take you in a little closer. You see there's something from Greece, something from... well, they're all pieces that I collect a miniature from every place we travel to and bring it home, and I add it in here. So... all the places you see, like a pyramid from Egypt, the Colosseum from Rome. There's an Eiffel Tower in here somewhere. Yeah, there's the Eiffel Tower behind Santa. There's that big church in Barcelona that they haven't finished yet, and they've been working on for...
Sagrada Familia or whatever.
Yeah. Something from Holland. We've got, you know, the clock tower, Big Ben, from England. Any place that we go, I pick up, oh, and that's my tacky Las Vegas sign. Had to have it. So any place that we've been, we collect a little miniature to represent that place, and it sits here. Now, this is a bitch to clean. it gets cleaned about once a year if it's lucky. When things start to look like there's actual snow on it, that's when I take everything apart, wash it all, dust it all, whatnot. But here, now, in behind this curtain, and Walter will have to pull it, this is one of
That's
Walter's,
actually one of my first pieces.
one of his first pieces. See if we can get a little closer. Hard to get in under the curtains, but that's one of his first pieces that he did. Much simpler than the Tiffany, as you can tell. We still have people on here. Marie says it's not dust, it's the protective layer. He said, what a pretty thing. Now, this is our dining room. Let me get back. It's hard to get all in shot. Again, we have sort of an open concept here. So this is our dining room, and that dining room suite actually is almost 100 years old now. It was my grandparents, and I inherited it. And I actually refinished it many, many, many years ago when I didn't know anything about refinishing wood, and I still don't, but it turned out not too bad. So this is our formal living room, which needs to be it's a little dated now. It needs to be updated. And this is one of Walter's lamps. He has several lamps.
They're the more simpler patterns.
He says this is the simpler pattern. It is reminiscent to me of Art Nouveau or Art Deco, actually, which I really love Art Deco, as you're going to see shortly. So this is our upstairs. And then this is our front door. And as we go down the stairs, because this is a raised bungalow, on this landing, this is what we call the mud room. If I walk in, the light will come on. There you go. And this is basically, you know, we have a freezer in here, a laundry tub, cleaning supplies, things like that. Lindsay says you're very good, Walter. And now...
Thank you.
This is going downstairs now. This is my work area, but you have all seen this before because this is in my videos, my vlog, and I did a whole thing about my craft room. And oops, sorry, my hand's over the lens. That's not good. But what I do want to point out...
The lens is at the bottom corner.
Okay, sorry, I'm making everybody sick here because... All right, so this... We have 3 windows down here, and each one has a stained glass panel in front of it. I asked Walter for this one because I wanted it in Art Deco style, and so he found a pattern and whatnot, put that together. And these 2 windows down at this end, he did all in floral because they go out to the garden at the front, so he wanted something that kind of went with that. And you had somebody build the frames, didn't you?
Yeah, I
around them.
had somebody come. Somebody actually put the frames around it for me.
So, yes, you're getting more of a view of my craft room, but as I said, I got a video on my craft room and when I redid it also. Yeah, that's how I do my videos, actually. The tripod with the reach arm on that over top of my main work desk that's here. So we move on, and the princess will show us the way. Oh, yeah, and this is my gallery of my art. It's on every wall. I really need to give some away or sell it. I don't know, one or the other. And so in here, this is our rec room. And Walter made these 2 lamps that are here, again. He also has 2 lamps that are in our bedroom upstairs as well, that we didn't take you into. We redid this rec room, oh, geez, how many years ago now? It's been a while.
Retired, so.
Yeah, so about 7-8 years ago. Yeah. And we had this fireplace built in to it. It's a gas fireplace. And they had to build the wall out for it. And Walter won't let me hang anything on that wall. It's an accent wall. It's in a different color you see than the rest of the room. I so want to hang stuff on it, but he won't let me do that. And this is where we're down here the most when we're watching TV because we have a big television set, as you can see. Other rooms we're not going to take you in down here. There's a bathroom down here. There's a laundry room down here. There's what I call the annex in some of my videos, and it's a mess in there. That's my exercise room, and this is Walter's workshop, and it's even more of a mess.
That's one of my jobs is to clean that up.
Yeah. And this is the patio that, oops, Why did I suddenly...
Because you put your hand on the front of the...
Sorry people, blackout. This is our area I was telling you about that we sit under the deck. And you're going to get a bit of a glare here. Actually, a lot of a glare. But you see, we open out onto a forested area. And then we have a hot tub over on that side as well. That didn't really help. But anyways, now you've got an idea of what our house is all about. And you've seen Walter's stained glass, which I'm hoping when he's now retired, he's going to get back into it. He hasn't done any for a while. Walter says, Walter, do you use kits?
No.
No, he does not use kits.
The only kit was the lamp.
Oh, okay, that was your...
The Tiffany lamp.
All right. Now, I'm going to put you people back on the stand and switch things around, so just bear with me for a minute as this happens.
The Tiffany lamp was the pattern and the... was a kit, but it didn't include any of the glass, and I had to pick all my own glass out. So that part of it was that. Usually I haven't actually done too much where I've done my own pattern. Oops, my squeaky chair.
Yeah, we had a complaint from last week from someone. It was a kind complaint about the squeaky chairs. Sorry.
Try not to move very much.
We can't oil them. They just, yeah.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
And the flower panels at the front were actually one of the ladies that owned the store that I used to go to. She made a great big, huge, one-piece floral type pattern. And to get that pattern that I have on the two windows were two sections of that floral pattern that she had. So I just copied it and picked my own glass out and made it from that pattern. So I have yet to actually sit down and create my own pattern to do the glass with. So
Lindsay says, thank you, Walter. If any of you would like to have a custom-made piece by Walter, not a problem. I don't think you can afford them. Because the amount of time it takes him to do one of those things, you'd never get...
I'm not too speedy at doing it. So, but I'm also very picky. Like, if other people might look at it and see a flaw, I'll tear it apart and fix it, rather than finish it with a flaw in it.
You're not having anything from the poo-poo platter?
Yeah, I will in a minute.
You don't like my poo-poo?
Yeah.
Well, it's all shit to you. Cindy says, happy retirement, Walter.
Thank you.
Okay, so you had the tour. So, hope it didn't make you sick along the way as we did that. But last week, a couple of people mentioned they'd like to see it. So, you know, everybody's always curious to see somebody else's house. So, there it is. Okay, so, I'm talking with my mouth full.
Mm-hmm.
A few questions left over from last week. And this probably is a very appropriate question right now. The question came from Rose and asked, when did you start doing art? Well, you tell them about how you got involved with stained glass.
Well, stained glass is something I've always admired. I always liked it. And I always had an idea that is a hobby that I sort of wanted to do. But I never seemed to have any time between work, and my parents were elderly. I'd end up having to do a lot of work for them and that. And then really, when my mom ended up in the nursing home, and I found I had a little bit more free time, and I started doing it then. But other things happened where I got busy again, and I couldn't do it for a bit. And then after she passed away, I had lots of free time, so I sat down and went to some classes and got more involved in it, and I found that I actually really like it.
So, basically, you started this how many years ago?
After 2009, that was about 8 years ago.
But you've done art things all your life. They're just maybe not fine art, but they're like you puttered about and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been not like something just one day you woke up and...
No, it's something that I've always wanted. That particular thing is something that I've always wanted to do. But over the years, I've tried other things like some wood stuff and stuff like that, which I thought I might wanted to do, but then it turned out that it wasn't really for me. So
yeah, you started trying to do wood carving, and
I just got frustrated with it.
And I got you all those expensive tools to do it, and they've never been used for anything. But anyways, for me, actually, I'm assuming everybody can hear us okay now because I plugged the microphone back in. So is sound okay? If somebody could just let me know if you can hear me okay with that. Not a problem, Dorothy. She says, sorry I'm late, guys. Happy retirement, Walter. Not a problem, Dorothy. We're still on. And any parts that you missed, you can catch on the replay when it goes up on YouTube. Okay, so everybody says they can hear us. That's great. Good to know. Okay, so how did I get involved in art? Well, I've always enjoyed art as, you know, making things. I've just come up with a new term for myself. I had to do this the other day because people are saying, like, I do art journaling, you know what I do, and that kind of stuff. And I don't like to use the term artist for myself, but I really don't know what to call myself. And I don't like the word crafter either, because crafter sounds like, oh, you're sticking like Q-tips together with a glue gun. And we all know we do a lot more than just that. So I called myself the other day a maker, but I heard a new term today that I like better, and it's, now I can't remember it.
Oh, good.
It was a really good term, though, and I thought I would use it, but now I can't remember what it was. Something like creator, but not a creator. Oh, shoot. I can't remember. Well, it'll come back to me eventually. So anyways, I loved art when I was in school, but I wasn't that great at it. I couldn't really draw that well, but I just loved it. I just loved the whole process of it. And in grade 8, when we were picking courses for high school, my art teacher was his name was Mr. Cross. I hope he's dead. Oh, he's got to be by now, because he was ancient then. And I know that sounds kind of cruel to say that, but I mean it because he was the nastiest teacher you could ever meet, and he taught art. And he'd look at the person on my left of me and say, that's wonderful, love the perspective. Look at the person on the right and go, I love what you've done with the color. Look at mine and go, yuck. Literally, he would go, yuck. Well, I'm in grade 8. I'm 13 years old. What's that do to your ego? But then he says to us when we were picking courses for the high school year, he says to me, I hope you're not planning on taking art in high school. And I go, well, yeah, I was. I really love art. And he goes, don't. Don't waste the teacher's time. Don't waste your time. You stink at it. You'll never make anything of it. Don't do it. Well, I was shattered. But guess what? I didn't take art. I never took art in high school. I never took art in any capacity again. I didn't do anything until 2002 when I discovered scrapbooking. And I've never looked back. Scrapbooking led to card making, led to more paper crafts, led to art journaling, led to now playing with acrylic paints and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still self-conscious of the fact that I am not an artist. And I don't know what the definition of an artist is. I do it because I like it. I have fun with it. And that's all that really matters. So, yeah. So I've always...
Maybe you're a con artist.
Maybe I'm a con artist, yeah, right. Yeah, as Bev says, that was so wrong of that teacher to say that. Yes, and you know, I was a teacher. And the one thing I always remembered from that experience is you never go to a kid and you always try to find something positive to say about whatever they're doing. I taught English. Sometimes it was hard to find something positive to say about their writing, I can tell you that. But, you know, if it came down to, well, I love the way you spelled your name this time, I don't know. Well, no, I didn't really do that. But I always tried to, you know, be positive in the comments I would make and at the same time try to show them where they could improve. And there's a fine line in that. But, you know, not to blow their self-esteem out of the water. That came from what this guy had done to me. So the power of teachers. Okay. Oh, here's a good question, too, because of the eve of your retirement. If you had the chance to start over, would you have a different career?
That is a really good question. And probably not for me. It's maybe travel agent, but other than that, no. I've always liked working in the computer industry, so I mean, it's challenging. There's always new stuff that you have to learn.
Yeah.
But I really couldn't imagine doing much of anything else.
Well, I went through different stages in my life, and one of them was I thought I wanted to be an accountant because I was really good in accounting in high school, and I kind of liked doing it. But then I kind of got thinking, yeah, but you're doing the same thing day in and day out, and where's the creativity? And where's the, I think that would get boring after a while. And it wasn't until I was in grade 13, in those days we had grade 13 in Ontario, one of my English teachers actually made me do a presentation. In those days, getting up in front of a class and doing a presentation was rare. We didn't do that kind of thing then. That's really common today. And in my whole teaching career, that was very common. But I had to do a presentation, and it was supposed to be 20 minutes long. Mine went on for the full period, and it was semester class, so it was about a 70-minute period. And everybody seemed to be really involved with what I was doing, and I loved doing it. And that was the day I decided, hey, I like this. I like being a teacher. And I like English, so I'll be an English teacher. I was also a drama teacher as well. But if I had to do it all over again, if I was coming into the teaching profession or thinking about teaching now in 2017, I wouldn't. Teaching is not what it was when I started back 40 years ago. It is totally politics now. Teachers have really no respect from the students, from the parents, from the administration. The government is stripping teachers of any of their autonomy. I don't think it is a profession that a young person should aspire to now in this country, or at least in this province. And that's a sad thing to say. I loved the years that I was a teacher. There were frustrations, as in any job, and challenges and the whole bit, but that was okay. And I got to be creative, and that was the one thing I loved about my job. So if I had to choose a different career, I would want something where in this day and age, I would go into something that had technology more in it, but like YouTube technology, video technology. I always thought advertising might be interesting too, although that's very challenging as well. But something that I could be, different every day and creative in. So, but I was happy being a teacher, for the most part. Just backing up here on some of the comments that people have made. Marie's referring to when she got into art. She started in 2001 after having my daughter and suffering postnatal depression. Yeah, and a lot of people get into art because it helps to calm them or gives them something, that helps them with an emotional issue or whatever. Lindsay says she's been drawing and painting for 15 years old and like doing all different crafts now and journals. Yep. And that's the other thing. I love the variety that, art is so many things. It's not just oil paint on a canvas. And Catherine says, I've always felt jealous that I didn't get to take any art classes because I played an instrument. I didn't chase the opportunity down either. Yeah, but you played an instrument, and that's an art. I took piano lessons for many years, and I suck. In fact, I haven't played anything on a piano, not that I could. And I went up to grade 8 conservatory with it. And, no, I wasn't so good. Ian says, that teacher may have made you stronger, and that's definitely what I was saying, Ian. It definitely did. Ian says he always wanted to teach art, and I do now with all my great art people online. Yeah. And that is a form of teaching too, and it's one reason why I do my videos and things, because you might be able to take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't take the classroom out of the teacher. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Whatever. Teacher for life. Marie says, my children's teachers don't seem to be as good as they were in my time at school. Yeah, and you want to know something? That has to do with the way the governments have gotten into education, and the governments want to make education a corporate adventure. They want to put everybody on the assembly line, and everybody's going to come in this way and come out this way, the same way. You can't do that. It's human beings. children are individuals. They all have their strengths. They have their weaknesses. You have to play to those strengths and help them develop, get over the weaknesses. No two people are the same, but the governments want to do that. And so it's very trying for teachers who have a curriculum thrown down their throat that is basically trying to create little automatrons out of the students. Cindy says, please, Walter, keep it down. Laugh out loud. Yeah, well,
it's post-retirement stress syndrome.
Actually, I was going to say I think it was post-birth for you,
else?
but anyway. Okay, so speaking of which, are you more like your mom or your dad, and why? I know the answer to that one.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Who are you? More like your mother or more like your father?
I probably look more like my mother, and I probably act more like my father.
No, your poor mother. Yeah, I was going to say you're more like your father. His father, when I first met his father, he was a scary man. Yeah, very scary. Like I was afraid to breathe with that he might chop off my head with it. He's dead now. Let's see what else we got.
What about you?
Well, I'm myself. I'm neither like my mother nor my father.
Oh, yeah, but you look like your father.
Yeah, well, they call me Minnie Lyle. Yeah, my father's gone now, too, as well. Yeah. I'm probably, and I don't like to say it, but I'm probably more like my mother than my father. Heaven help you. Which is scary for me because as my mother's grown older, I don't want to be my mother. I don't, so I'm trying my best not to happen. I don't know if you can fight genes or not, but anyways. Bev says, my daughter had to learn to read a whole different way, and it wasn't for a teacher. She would have never learned to read because she found the key she needed. Okay, well, that was great. And Ian calls it an educational sausage factory. Yes. Cindy goes, you're so funny together. What, in looks? I'm the cute one. Really. I strongly suggest you agree with that. Okay. All right.
I used to be a lot thinner and had much more hair. So.
Yeah, we were all a lot thinner, and, well, I still have my hair, but it used to be dark, too, at one time. This was a question, an interesting question, and for any of my American friends out there, I hope this isn't offensive, but this person, who is an American, writes, have you traveled much in the U.S., and do you have any generalizations about the U.S.?
Yes, we've traveled quite a bit in the U.S.
Yeah.
We've been to Las Vegas. We've been to Palm Springs. We've been to Los Angeles. I've been to Texas, but you haven't been to Texas.
No.
We've been to Florida. Every Canadian's pretty much been to Florida.
Yeah, most of them live there.
Been to Florida. We've driven down from Toronto to New Orleans one year. We've been to New York. Let me see where else. Buffalo.
Yeah.
That counts.
California.
Yeah, I said
Did you say
California,
California?
Los Angeles.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Los Angeles and San Diego, and so we've been, and we drove up the coast in California to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've been quite a few different places.
So, do we have any generalizations about the U.S.? Yeah, a lot.
That it is different than Canada.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Except that the Americans think that we are exactly like they are, and we're not. Yeah. And a reason I say that too is they've sent businesses up here, especially in the food industry, and they try to establish the way they're used to. For example, many years ago there was a restaurant that came up here called Sizzler, and it was all based on sort of, well, it was weird.
It was sort of like a cross between a fast food place and a place that served alcohol. You still have to go to the front, order your food, get a number, sit down. Actually, it works similar to what a lot of places in Australia are like. And you have to order your drinks that way. Well, Canadians don't operate that way. They will do that if it's really cheap. They might do that, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not really cheap, if it's the same price as other places, which Sizzler was pretty much the same price as other places, why would I do it that way when I can go to a different restaurant and get served?
Yeah, and you actually had to order, like they were licensed. So if you wanted a bottle of wine, you're standing up at this cash register. I'm going to have the filet mignon with this potato, with these vegetables, and I'm going to have a bottle of this wine and this kind of stuff. No, We don't do it like that. So they went out of business.
Now, what else we noticed is we ran into when we drove down to New Orleans that we actually ended up staying in a dry county.
Yeah.
So we couldn't drink anything in that county. We went to a restaurant and they had beer signs all over the place in the restaurant.
You know, those light up type.
And we asked, okay, so our typical thing when we sit down and have a meal, what do you have on tap? Or meaning, what kind of beer do you have on draft on tap or whatever? And they looked at us like strange and they said, well, you're in a dry county.
Yeah, no, they went, y'all want a drink? You see that road out there? You go about 15 miles up that road a piece.
And you can get
anything you want there. Because this here's a dry county. Okay.
So that's been different.
Well, let's talk about Target. Or as we like to call it in Canada, Target. Because anything that ends with GET is a she. With a what anyways. Well, Target didn't make it. Because, and for some reason, all my women friends loved the Target in the United States. And they were so excited when Target was going to open up stores here in Canada. But it was totally, well, I think they thought they were going to get this really great selection of products at really low prices. When it came here, the selection wasn't that good. Most of the time, the store shelves were very empty. And they the prices sucked. They were Canadian prices. So most of our prices suck up here. But it didn't last. And they opened up a pile of stores across this country.
Right, and I pretty much figured they would close right away because every time I went into one, it was dead. There was nobody in it. Anytime I went looking at anything in a Target, it was they either didn't have it, it was not on the shelf, or the prices were lousy.
Yep.
And in Canada, people are really picky about their prices, so it just didn't make it. It's just like we have Costco up here. They're doing well. They're established and everything else.
And Walmart's doing well.
No, and Walmart's doing well. But then Walmart decided to open Sam's Club, thinking Costco was thriving here. But what ended up happening here is most Canadians won't have two memberships to one place, to two different places. I got because it was close by, I got a membership the first year to Sam's Club to check it out compared to Costco, and found that their stuff wasn't really that much different than what was in Costco. And I let the membership lapse because there was too much similarity, and I had already established a Costco account. So then what ended up happening is Sam's Club all closed down too because they didn't make it.
I mean, the one thing I will say about the service industry, though, in the States, is it's much better than it is here in Canada. I mean, when you walk into a restaurant or you walk into like a Target or wherever in there in a store, the people that work in the store seem to be very friendly, very helpful. Here in Canada, well, it's hit and miss in some cases. Some stores you can go to in Canada and the employees are all standing somewhere in a corner and it's like they all scatter like mice when you walk in. You can't find a person to help you out with anything. Now, I think that has been changing a little bit, but I think that's the influence of Walmart on a lot of the bigger stores like the Home Depot and things like that. So yeah, I guess every country has its idiosyncrasies and its people and things like that. And yeah, it's the U.S. But I'll tell you one thing right now, and I don't want to offend the Americans, but you probably know this anyways. We will not travel in the United States right now. Not the climate that's in the United States. Not with Trump, the whole bit. Staying away. No.
Also, when if we travel to foreign countries, we generally try to avoid flying through the United States, and then the only reason for that is because of all the security measures in the United States. The getting through the airports with a foreign passport can be a real pain.
Oh yeah.
So, and Canada is considered a foreign passport. So.
Yeah, we used to have a really no problem going into the States and coming out of the States. You know, we bragged about we have the longest undefended border in the world. Yeah, that's slowly changing as we build the wall. But anyways, just looking at some of the comments here. Ian says, the other day I went around a monster-sized IKEA. It took most of the day to find my way out. Yeah, well, you know how IKEA works. They have a path. And that path winds all around everything in their store, and they want you to see everything before you get out of there. It's a really clever tactic. I love IKEA because they always have neat things. But yes, you can spend all day in IKEA. Bev says, I will not get a membership for Costco or Sam's Club. I'm perfectly happy with just the Walmart or Target. Which is fine. Because does one really need a case of tomato sauce? Yes, because we buy it that way. Yes, we buy a case of toilet paper, a case of paper towels and stuff like that. But if you're somebody who doesn't have a need to have that much stuff on hand, then yeah, it's probably not a good investment to buy a membership. Cindy says she doesn't care for Target. No, I don't like Target here or in the well, we don't have them anymore in Canada, but I don't like them in the States either. Anyways, and that comes to a question that someone asked: if you had the choice of anywhere to live in the world, where would it be?
It used to be when we traveled a bit more and went different places, you could say, oh, this would be a really neat place to live. Like one of our first trips, we drove out west and that, and we kind of liked the Vancouver area and that. But I think what happens is that you get used to the area you live in, so that when you travel somewhere else, it makes it feel like it's exotic. People come here and they think it's exotic here because they're used to the place that they live in. So I'm happy with where we're living now.
Yeah,
it'd be nicer if, in some way, some people say, well, it'd be nice if it was warm all year round and stuff like that, and wouldn't have to shovel any snow or something, but I don't know.
That's what children are for. You hire them.
We've got used to it being like this, and I don't know if I'd run out and move somewhere else.
Well, I wouldn't at this age. But if I was 40 years younger and had been to Australia and I didn't have family connection or anything here, I would seriously consider immigrating to Australia. Because that's why we're going back for the second time. Not to live there, but I really like Australia. I think it's a really neat place. Oh, sure, it's got its pros, it's got its cons. It's really hot. Even in their winter, it's really hot in comparison to here. But I love Canada. I think it's the best place in the world to live. Apparently, a lot of other people think that too. And after the last election in the States, there seems to be a lot of people wanting to come and live up here too.
So.
Yeah, people don't understand, though, how barren Canada really is. Once you get out of what we call the Golden Horseshoe, which is where we live, which is the area around Toronto, in southern Ontario, like from
around Lake Ontario, from Niagara Falls to Toronto, moving out towards our area,
and then towards Windsor, the other end, which is the most southern part of Canada. In that, after you get out of this area and you just go north,
it becomes very desolate.
It becomes more desolate, more barren. Big Canadian Shield. If you don't know what the Canadian Shield is, it's rock, basically left over from the glaciers in the Ice Age, and it's like rock, and scrub brush and stuff like that, and all kinds of wild things all over the place. Though we have those in our backyard as well. So, and we've traveled from coast to coast in this country, and yeah, as soon as you get away from the one big city that every province has, and that's about it, one big city, and it's usually the capital city, there's nothing. And everybody goes to the cities. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with our immigration policy. Everybody that comes in this country goes into like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, the three biggest cities. And they're becoming overrun. Overrun by, they're becoming too full. It's urban sprawl and, concentration and everything like that. And, we have a lot of land. I think our government should just offer people that come here and say, look, you can have free land. We'll even give you
actually, a lot of
grant to build a house.
Land, a lot of our usable land is already owned by people. The unusable land is available. So that's not any good to anybody. So
no. Lindsay says she's not seeing chat. Well, it seems to be working for everybody else, Lindsay, but I'm not sure what device you might be on. If you're on an iPad or your phone or something, just touch the screen and it may come up on that. If you're on a PC, I'm not sure how it works. It should just automatically be there on the PC, I think. If you're on a Mac, I haven't got a clue. Okay, so this is going on. So I'm going to skip this one question, which is a philosophical one, which we'll save for another day. Bye, Catherine. We'll see you soon. Last week, a comment came up about religion, and I kind of skimmed over it, and I called myself a born-again agnostic. And we were talking about that in context with being gay and all that kind of stuff. And I thought I should explain what I meant by that. First of all, I was not always an agnostic. And if you don't know what an agnostic is, it's basically somebody, a very simplified version of it, is somebody who believes there is a supreme force in the universe, in like a supreme power that governs things, but does not believe necessarily in organized religion like Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, anything like that. I used to be a Presbyterian. Presbyterian is Christian. It's Protestant. And it's actually the Church of Scotland is where it comes from. It's Scottish roots, although haven't got a Scots background. And I was in the church since the day I was born. Actually, I started in the United Church, which is also Protestant, and then my parents moved over to Presbyterian. They're almost the same thing. Not a big deal. I sang in the choir for years and years. When it came time for us to get married, and there were some other issues going on in my church, I wanted to talk to the minister about some things I didn't agree with in the church that were going on. And one of those things was he kept preaching that the Presbyterian church was all-inclusive. And it wasn't. The Presbyterian church hadn't made up its mind about same-sex marriages yet. They were sitting on the fence. And when he was saying that our particular congregation was inclusive, I challenged him on that because I had seen evidence contrary to that. So when we went to speak to him about this, Walter and I went together, and he had met Walter before, but Walter never really went to the church because
I was always agnostic.
Always agnostic. He never had any practicing religion. So we went to see this guy, this minister, and he thought we were there to ask him to marry us. And he said, well, I can't marry you because of the... I says, we're not here to ask you to marry us. We know you can't do it, and that's fine. I'm here to talk to you about some issues in the church that are bothering me. And I sat on various committees on the church, too. So this is... And my parents always had as well. That's why I was, I wasn't just your average person in the pew kind of a thing. So I started talking about the issues about being inclusive in that, and then this man, an educated man, started to talk about what his problem was with the gay community. And he was basing it all on what he'd seen on the news during Toronto Pride that happened once a year. And I looked at him and I said, that's the media focusing on the weirdos. What I meant by that is they're showing you the ones that have hardly any clothes on, the ones that are all dressed in leather and cracking a whip, the drag queens, the lesbians on motorcycles, all of that. That is there for show, and yes, those people do exist in our world, but most gay people are just people. Well, he argued with me on that, and I couldn't believe this. And the bottom line of this is after this meeting, I said, he wanted me to go and talk to the elders of the church for their questions, and I did. Picture this, me up against 30 old men and women who were the pillars of our congregation. Some of them were like very pro-gay, not a problem. Others just were ignorant, to say the least, meaning lack of knowledge about things. And I was there to try to educate them. That wasn't working very well. So finally, at the end of that meeting, I kind of walked out and said, well, if you have any other questions, my door is always open. But I said to them, but you got to find my office first. And I left the church and never went back. And that's over 25 years ago now. Now, the ironic point of all of this is that this minister that we had was actually born in the Middle East. That's a Presbyterian church, remember that. You can't get more white bread than a Presbyterian church. He was born in the Middle East, and he was not born a Christian. He was raised as a Muslim. But he disagreed with the beliefs of his family, his culture, And he converted to Christianity and came to the States first and then to Canada. And he got his education in the States and in Canada in the seminaries and whatnot, and to become a minister. In fact, he had a master's degree in theology and the whole bit. This was a man who understood discrimination because of religious practices and cultural practices, and yet here he was discriminating against us. And that was a quandary for me. I've never been able to put those pieces together because it just didn't seem right. He should have understood. If anybody, he should have understood. But he didn't. So, I'm what I call a born-again agnostic, meaning that I do believe in a superior power. I do not believe in organized religion. And quite frankly, I believe there is no place in this world, like John Lennon said in the song, imagine a world with no religion. Because I think that's where a lot of our problems in our world come from. Because of organized religion. I have nothing against spirituality, but why is it that one religious group thinks they're more right than another religious group or other people in general? And the hypocrisy that's in there and the whole bit. So anyways, that's why I didn't get into it last week, because it's very controversial, but I make no apologies for the way I feel about it at all. So, anyways, let's see. Backing up.
I'm agnostic, as my parents basically were, and we never went to church or anything like that. And my parents sort of said that if you feel that you want a religion, it's up to you to follow that. But since I've never really had one, I never really did, and I don't really have a great deal of beliefs other than that the supreme power sort of thing, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I was dyslexic and as an agnostic, I guess I would be saying, is there a dog? That's a joke. It'll come to you eventually. Not that bad. I think that's one of the better ones. Okay, one last question we have here from Cindy. How long have you and Walter been together? I guess that's not a question that came up last week. We have been together, come this December 21st, 34 years. We have been married 12 years, legally married. So, yeah, we're in it for the long haul with that. And we've probably been together longer than a lot of married couples that we know that have been married and then unmarried and then married again.
Been longer than my boss and her husband and stuff. So
yeah, so Dorothy says, I'm a Christian but hate organized religion. Yeah, and that's what I mean about spirituality, Dorothy. I mean, I have nothing against spirituality. I have nothing against the teachings of Christianity at all. I mean, I was raised that way for many years and the whole bit. It's just when you start putting people in a building and telling them they have to do this and they tell other people they have to do this, then I have a problem with that. Okay. Cindy says the same for me and my husband, 33 years. Yep. Well, you know what they say, Cindy? The first 40 are the hardest. Yeah. So anyways, on that note, people, it's been great chatting to everybody, and this has gone on now for about an hour and a half, which is about the same as last week with it. So that's great. Thank you for hanging in there, and we've only got about 6 left people here, but whatever. People see it on the post, and I think we'll do... ew. I don't know what this is. Something says... show... Oops. Okay, that was interesting, Cindy. It came up on my thing as show or hide what... I must have been because you said holy shit. And probably something built into this. It probably picked up on the word shit, although I've seen shit now several times. Shitty say it, but it hasn't blocked me.
Maybe because I had holy in front of it.
Oh, maybe. Oh, my God. There they are. Organized religion in the YouTube. Okay, so good night, everybody. To Dorothy and Sue, who's just left, and everybody else. And
good night.
Tune into the vlog on Monday. And we'll see you all later. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye for now.